organization is defined. Say, instead of a sales chat channel that's maybe a subset of your entire sales organization, you can now invite your entire sales organization, say global, right? Instead of maybe just like North America and like South America. So that's what the inviting by organization is that's coming. You can also send voice messages on your desktop or your desktop version of your chat coming on mobile soon. And then the mute button. This is also a personal favorite of mine because we have a lot of chat here at Zoom because that's what we use. And so with all your chat channels running, you have this like giant list of like, 100 unread chats. And so with muting, now it disables adding and counting to whatever you've muted. Before, when you muted it, it would only stop giving you notifications that if you were specifically tagged in something. But now it actually takes away that red dot and prevents it from adding to that big counter of what you haven't read yet. And then your first name only at mention, previously, when you added somebody and tagged them, you had to add their full name. And if you backspaced after that, it would just delete them. Now, if you backspace, it'll just remove their last name and you can go into to have just their first name mentioned, which is great because it feels a lot more casual and you never really say everyone's full name when you're talking to them. So let me go ahead and demo all of these features. All right. Move my video. So we're here in this demo chat channel, and you can see here under the arrow here, the down arrow on the right of the channel, the manage posting permissions. You go ahead and click on that, and you can see what I'm talking about, where this allows anybody that's in the channel to post at any time. Admin only means only I can post in this channel and no one else can put anything. And then admin plus specific people, you can add specific people in that channel. Going over to the right here under the information, when you go to channel info and add members right above that, now I can say, let's add a test channel. Instead of adding individual people, I can say add the test channel. And now everyone from that channel, now you can see the member count here, is added to my chat right away, all at once. And now I can, demoing the at feature, I can add Caitlin. And then when I backspace once, it now takes away her last name, and now I can just leave it a little more informal and just adding their first name. And then let me go into the mute. So either you can mute the channel, and that will change all those features like I told you about taking away that red dot and taking away the count, or under notifications, you can specify how you want to be notified of what's going on in that channel. Either all messages you get a notification, only when someone mentions you, or nothing, which is the same thing as basically muting that entire channel. And then down here at the bottom, you can see there's screenshot file and now record a message. When you hit record a message, it will start right away. And here I can start recording a voice message. Hey, everybody in the demo chat channel. Thanks for joining me on this call. It's been really fun and I love this new feature. Hit that little send button and then that voice message will pop up here and everyone in the channel can then play that and read it. Or listen to it, not read it. All right, and I think that is everything for chat.
Yep, I think you covered it. All right, let's go back and just take a look at what resources we have here. So if you have any questions about any of these new features, if you're not familiar, we do have a support site at Zoom, support.zoom.us. And here you can find our latest release notes. If you wanted to dive in a little bit deeper and get the full notes of everything that was released, you can go ahead and find those here. And again, we'll put all these links in chat for you. We also have a great blog Jen wrote, and it really goes into all the different features she just mentioned with some fun screenshots, but also a greater description if you want to pass it along or keep that for reference. And if you haven't subscribed to the blog, it is a great way to get up to date with all the latest news and features coming from Zoom, so you can subscribe to some of those. But there's a great blog that you can definitely reference here. And then we've put together, I believe, a how-to video to use some of these features, which is another really fun way to get accustomed to using them. And then, like I mentioned, our support site have a wealth of knowledge. So there is a lot of support articles around these features, and you can search and find what you're looking for, and it'll give you maybe some screenshots or some deeper information about all these new features. So you can definitely look on the support site and just find the article related to what you're looking for. And then if you have any questions about Zoom security and privacy, if you visit our security and privacy page, you would also learn additional information about what we have going on there. I think there was a question asking a little bit more about what we've done with security. We do offer a monthly webinar with Eric that'll actually be happening on the 19th, where we'll go into more detail about security, but we do have this great resource, and you're welcome to go take a look at all the latest information we have around privacy and security. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and I think we want to go into Q&A. And one that I've seen, maybe Jen, let's, do you want to share a whiteboard, and we can just talk a little bit about, there's some questions around annotation, what annotation is, and kind of what we have.
Yeah, thank you. I did not actually demo the whiteboard, so thank you for reminding me. Go ahead and to share. And you can see my whiteboard here. You can see me start drawing.
All right, it didn't come up yet. Maybe try again.
Okay. Stop here. Let me try one more time.
There we go.
There we go. And you can see me annotating here.
So if you see, you know, Jen's annotating, I'm annotating, and it's showing the names of everyone who's putting what on the screen. So this is by default. We've always had this feature, but Jen, we just changed it, right, to be on default.
We did, yeah. We've always had this feature, but you've had to turn it on, and we noticed that a lot of folks didn't realize that they could turn that on, but it's on by default now.
Awesome. And then there was another question that goes to kind of, how do you decide who can annotate? Is that a setting? Which it definitely is. As the host, you can decide who annotates. Maybe you can touch on that.
Yeah, as the host, by default, all of our panelists, if you're in a webinar or something like this, or a meeting, then the host can annotate and panelists can, but you can then change the settings so that everyone can annotate.
Yeah, so if you're in a meeting, you should have that security icon. That's a great place to go, where you can decide whether your participants can annotate. That's something you can control. And then I think the other question was around just kind of when annotation comes up. So if you're in a meeting and you're not seeing annotation, it's because you're not sharing anything. So annotation, the toolbar actually doesn't appear till you start sharing. And you can annotate on shared content, meaning we were just using Whiteboard, but if Jen was sharing a PowerPoint slide, or maybe we're walking through an Excel file and I wanted to annotate on something, you can annotate on content that you're sharing. It doesn't have to be a whiteboard as well.
Yeah, and then how to start that session is like Kristen mentioned, under sharing. So if you go to your share screen button, it should default to the basic tab. And then across the top, you should see maybe your desktops or whatnot. But next to it, you should see whiteboard. You click on whiteboard and that will pull up exactly what you just saw.
Perfect. All right, so let's see what other questions we're getting here. Hopefully everyone's excited to start using these new features.
We really
there's a lot of feature requests. I think we mentioned that the virtual background that we were showing, the PowerPoint, that is just PowerPoint, correct? You can't use Google Slides or anything right now.
You can share Microsoft and Apple, yeah.
Okay.
And then I think
so
there's some
Keynote
versions. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Keynote. I don't think you can share from a web browser. Say you had Google Slides up and share it that way. You could of course share your screen, but yeah, it has to be a download. Also, it has to be a downloaded piece of content on your desktop to be able to share.
Perfect. And I think we mentioned that it's in beta, but we'd love your feedback. So if you want to send us feedback as you're using that feature, just send it to feedback@zoom.us, and that's how you can share your feedback around that feature with us. All right, let's see. So some of you are kind of asking again about how you get access to these features. You do have to download the latest version of the Zoom client. Maybe I can just bring up that page real quick.
Yeah, 5.2 under our zoom.us/downloads. It's right there at the top, and it should take you a minute, 2 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you do have to download though. It doesn't automatically show up. But here, I'm just going to show you the page just so everyone knows where to go. So here's the URL I think we've put in the chat. And some are you saying you can't see the chat. The chat is separate from the Q&A window. We're putting links in there, so you should have access to that. But here, the Zoom client for meetings, this is 5.2. This is what you want to go ahead and download. All right, let's see. So I think there was a question, I think, in chat around like disabling the pop-ups or chat bubbles. Do we have anything around that? I don't think we've changed anything. I know you can mute whether that comes up at the bottom of your screen, like on your desktop.
Chat bubbles like in the client, you mean?
I think so, yeah, the client. Yeah.
Yes. So you can change that in your settings to either, like we demonstrated today, just like mute that channel's notifications, or you can go into your settings and say that there's not a pop-up. But that is a little, for me, that becomes a little dangerous, because then if your chat window is hidden behind things, you don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's a setting to disable.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. If you put something in chat and you want to quickly delete it, that is something that we do have in chat. Maybe Jen, you could just show how you delete a chat. I can put a test message in our test chat if that helps.
Sure.
You can definitely delete though. That's a great feature.
Yeah, so actually I'll just show you here, if you can see my screen now with a voice message, that it acts like any other message, whether it's text or this. You just say hit delete, and then that should delete it. There you go.
And just to clarify, that would be in the Zoom meeting client chat, not in a Zoom meeting.
The in-meeting
chat.
Yeah, in-meeting chat, yeah. So I just want to clarify that because someone was asking about that. But we have made that request, so we'll see. Right now, what I can recommend with the chat, because some people say, oh, students are typing in messages, is just set up the chat so that the host goes, they can only chat with the host. That's probably the best solution.
Yep, correct. Exactly. Either disable chat for everybody, or just say only chat with the host. Correct.
All right, let's see. Regarding sharing whiteboards, I think there's a question if participants in a meeting can share whiteboards. That again is something that the host manages. So whether you allow your participants to share the screen or not, that is something you can control and you can turn off in our security icon, but also in the participants window in your meeting. You can dictate what your participants are able to do. So that's just something that you have as the host, the ability to update or make changes to. There's some questions around just our virtual background feature. Maybe, Jen, do you want to just pull up the settings for virtual background and we can show people where they can do that?
Yeah. Let me go ahead and share screen.
And I would say in this release, we didn't really get into detail, but we did expand kind of the systems that can use that virtual background feature without a green screen, I believe. So we just are allowing for more people to hopefully be able to use that. So if you traditionally haven't been able to use the background feature, maybe you had your computer didn't have enough processing power, that's changed a little. So you might want to test it out again to see if you are able to use it now.
Yep. And I went back into my desktop share, so I want to make sure everyone can see this. And let me go through it because I think I was going through it when you were talking. So to share your slides as a virtual background, hit your screen share button, and then across the top, you'll see basic, advanced, and files. Go to advanced and you'll see their slides as a virtual background. You'll hit that share button, and then it'll ask you to search for a slide deck to share. And then now I'm sharing, and then it'll pop up here. There you go. Oh, and also just as a quick note there, you'll notice the first time I did this and shared, my video was here in the bottom corner. And then at the end of whatever I did last time, I left my video in the middle. It will retain that setting. And that would help you, like if you were doing multiple presentations in a day, you kind of built your presentations in the same way, your video would stay here and stay at the same size, so you don't have to resize it and reposition it every single time.
Perfect. And then I think there's just some questions as like virtual background as a whole. Let me share kind of my settings window. I can pull that up here, I think. Let's see. Let me go ahead and make sure I can share this. Share screen. Okay. Now let's try. Just had to enable my share screen so I can actually share my Zoom window. And we'll go ahead and do this. So we'll do here. So if you have this window, hopefully if you have the client up, you can click your settings area here. In your picture, it says settings. And when you go into your client, you would want to be able to click into background and filters as the tab. And you can actually go ahead and then select your virtual background. You can also do that when you're in a meeting by clicking on that video icon tab and adjusting kind of what background you have when you're in meeting. But you have the ability to upload images, any image, as your virtual background. So some of you are saying, hey, I'm new to Zoom. What do I use? Can I use my living room or can I use a living room? You can find a lot of great virtual backgrounds online. If you just search, I've Googled and found some fun ones. I know there's a lot of different people putting those together. So if you have like a favorite sports team, check out their website. Some of them have actually done that. I think the US Open has like a whole list for tennis of all the tennis courts you could use as your background. But if you need inspiration, I would just do a quick search and you can load that in. You can also use a video. And like we were talking about, if there's Jen, she's got her video going. Little subtle movement. Don't make anyone too sick by anything too crazy moving around behind you. But you definitely want to go ahead and test out the feature. We have a few defaults in there, but you are welcome to upload any image you would like to use as your virtual background. All right, let's see. What other questions?
I'm gonna send a link in the chat page to the support article for the virtual background. One thing to keep in mind, folks, is please make sure you look at the system requirements. I always tell folks, make a list of what you want to know more about and go to the support page, type it into the search option. It will give you the system requirements. You know, also if you're looking at like bandwidth recommendations, but look up virtual background. It's going to give you all of that info.
Yeah. And if you just Google them, like it's definitely a thing now. So many people have made virtual backgrounds. Your favorite show, you know, moving ones like this, which are really fun.
Yep. And then Jan, I saw your question. You don't see the filter option. When we're saying the new client, it's 5.2, not 5.02. So you're on an older version. If you upgrade, you should have those fun filters. And I highly encourage you to take a look at that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Getting a lot of questions about, I think, some of the sharing in PowerPoint. So I'm just trying to sort through here. Can you share screen a Keynote presentation and stop sharing and restart sharing without Keynote leaving its play mode? So I don't have a Mac. Maybe someone who has a Mac can talk to that. But when Jen and I were just presenting right now, I was sharing PowerPoint, she's demoing. I had at least Google Slides in full screen mode, presenter mode, and I think it's the same thing with PowerPoint. I'm using two screens though, so might be a little different, but when I'm in full screen mode and I stop sharing, it was staying in full screen mode, and then I would just go back and share it. So as long as I'm not messing with it and Xing out of anything, it'll stay in that mode if you start and stop.
Correct. Yep. And that is the same thing for Keynote. If you go into your slides and you start sharing or like presenting and then you go into your meeting and then you share that window, right? You share Keynote and then you come out of it and come back in. It should A, stay in presentation mode, and B, stay exactly where you were. It wouldn't move the slides.
Perfect. Fred was asking, he uses Zoom for his class and he likes to share PowerPoint, and sometimes then his class, the video grid on his screen covers some of the PowerPoint. What do you suggest? I mean, I think you just need to play around with your screen settings and the grid. You can minimize the video grid, but you definitely have options to kind of play around and resize that so you can kind of fit that in wherever it makes sense based on what you're showing. I know I resize mine a lot.
Mm-hmm. And this is for meetings. So in your meetings, there's a view at the top where, you know, in the corner where you can say like gallery view and that sort of thing. There's another mode where you can do side by side, which means you have all the videos on one side and then all the content on another. And then you'll see this line in between the video and the content that you can click on and drag. And that will dynamically, either depending on what's bigger, make all your videos bigger and then resize them and reshuffle them, or your content bigger. And so that will make sure it also doesn't overlap.
Perfect. Yeah, great tip. Jeanette was wondering if a participant can print what is shared on the screen. So when you share screen, maybe if I'm thinking whiteboard, like you could save the whiteboard if you're the host, if you have that permission to save that. And then if you wanted to print that file, if you've saved that file, you could theoretically print it. If you're sharing screen where you're sharing like a demo or another application, there's no real way to do that. So I'm thinking, Janet, you mean the whiteboard, but if not, you can put a clarification in the chat. We'll try to address that, or the Q&A, I'm sorry.
The other way that you might be able to print what's there is take a screen capture, and that like doesn't have anything to do with the actual content being shared. It's just like what is physically appearing on your screen. It'll take a screen of that, either the window or the whole desktop, depending on what program you have. And then you can, from there, you could, those though will be individual files for every single time you take a picture. You can then drag all those into something and then print it. And that'd be another way.
Perfect. Let's see. So when you're screen sharing, can you check chats or can others see that, even private chats? So Mindy, there's some options with screen share. Jen, maybe do you want to talk about like how you decide what you share?
Yeah, actually, so if you go into that same video settings, either from Kristen, how Kristen showed you in your web browser or in meeting here, you click that up arrow in your settings. Under share screen, actually, let me see if I can share that. Give me a second.
The other thing too is, you could just share that application rather than your entire desktop, which also makes a difference what you're sharing.
It definitely does. So here, if you look at, I'm clicking on the stop video button on that up arrow. I go back into my video settings. You hear the share screen setting here. I can go here and say, for example, the reason why you're even seeing my settings window and my chat right now is because I clicked on show Zoom windows during screen share. You can click that off so that now you would only be able to share everything else but any Zoom window. So like, say, for example, you want to share your desktop and you're like, oh, shoot, my meeting that I'm on is going to be on top of all my content. When you click that off, it won't be, at least your participants. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. All right, let's see what other ones are. Raul, are you seeing any repeated themes maybe we should touch on in the Q&A?
There's a couple in there. Some people were just asking about like the virtual background. I mean, I'm using a green screen because I have to. So you really, it really depends on your system. I mean, I can add a video, I can add a picture, but I have to use a solid color behind me. Jump on Amazon. I mean, I got mine like, I think it was like almost 4 years ago. So plenty of options on there. Someone asked about, can I upload my recordings to YouTube? Any recordings that are saved to your computer or that you've downloaded from your Zoom account with cloud recorded to your computer, you can upload them anywhere, Dropbox, Google Drive, or YouTube, and you can share them from there. Also, if you're going to be sharing videos from your computer, or from the web or something embedded in a presentation, in the share window, when you click on share, you'll see an option that says share computer sound. Make sure you check that. That way the audio comes through. So, and don't forget, folks, I always tell folks, start a meeting, have someone join, test out your audio, your video, ask that person, hey, how do I sound? How does this video look, that I'm sharing? You can, test everything out. Don't be afraid to start a meeting and test out all these features for yourself.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, any final thoughts, Jen, as we kind of start to wrap up?
I would just say stay really close to that Zoom blog and our release notes or support articles, because we are making releases and some really major ones like this with, we haven't even listed all the changes that we had. We couldn't cover them all on this call. But keep an eye, especially on the blog. That's a really great place to learn about all of our features either coming up or what we've done. And we usually add all the links for how-to videos and things like that to show you around everything.
Yeah, and definitely take a look at that how-to video that we have online, or test it out, like Raul was saying, start a meeting, have a friend or a colleague join and kind of play around with the new features so you get more familiar on how to use them. But thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. We really appreciate it, and we hope that you're excited by these new features and that you start using them.
Thanks, everyone.
录制已停止。